Hello you sexy beasts and welcome back to War Thunder. It is a very pleasant Wednesday evening. I'm currently on 4 hours of sleep and I have absolutely no idea what kind of gameplay I'm going to put on the background of this video. It's probably going to be some random boats, CBT clips, I don't really know. But that's not the topic of this video. Before we start off, let's get the formalities out of the way. Guys, huge thanks to every single one of you sexy beasts who rated and commented on the last video. I'm gonna be honest, that put a huge smile on my face for the rest of the day. Keep it up. Now today's topic is kind of a follow-up of the arcade tank debate, and one sparked by some of the comments that I saw on that video. This is something that sadly appears to plague every single multiplayer game, but is very noticeable in War Thunder actually. Now, there are 3 distinct game modes in War Thunder. You have arcade mode, you have realistic mode, and you have sim mode, simulator mode. And each of these modes drastically changes how the game is played and how the vehicles perform. To some degree, you could even say that each of those game modes is a different game in itself, that just shares the visual models of the vehicles and some parts of the maps. Now there's also this innate notion that people who play the harder game modes are automatically superior to the players who don't. So you have the realistic players bashing on the arcade players and the sim players actually being kind of neutral. Now I do like to believe that the sim player tends to be more mature, but it might just simply be because they are less vocal and much fewer in numbers as well. Now the player that goes through War Thunder, that first starts playing War Thunder, kind of suffers from this natural evolution. Now let's be honest here, most of us started out in arcade mode, right? Pretty much all of us have started out in arcade mode. War Thunder in arcade is just simply a fun game you can play every now and then. It's fast paced, it's easy to get into, easy to understand, and just very easy to have fun with, especially if you're playing with friends, if you're just interested in the whole thematic of it, or if you just want to play a very great free-to-play game. Now, the players that tend to be in the game for a while, or that like a tougher challenge, or even that hurts other players, or even that watch the YouTube videos, since most YouTubers you see out there are pure RB players, they tend to be interested in RB themselves, and so they start playing RB as well. That's kind of what happened with me when I started this channel out for the first time. I was playing arcade mode exclusively, and as per, well, pretty much forcing a request of my community back then, of my subscriber base back then, and just generally being fed up with being called a noob just for playing arcades, I started playing realistic mode, and it really took me a while to get into realistic mode. Keep in mind, this was back when tanks didn't exist yet. It was all about aircraft. But after some persistence, after a couple of weeks of getting to grips with the game mode, I started enjoying it, and I didn't really look back since. And in fact, even to this day, I still don't play arcade aircraft, because I simply don't like the game mode. When it comes to aircraft, I fucking love RB. When it comes to tanks, it depends a little bit. I still like the Tier 1 through to 3, maybe some Tier 4 tanks in RB, but Tier 5, for reasons that I've said in the last video and that I'm going to repeat here, is kind of not fun for me to play in RB, and so I've tried my hands at arcades, and this has kind of given me a whole new perspective. You see, most of the people you see bashing the arcade community tends to be the kind of player that really just sticks to RB. I honestly have never seen someone who actually plays both game modes and bashes the arcade player base. It just doesn't happen because you're part of the community as well. It's kind of this human this human nature of trying to be important, trying to make part of a group, and thinking that the group you're in is automatically better than the group you're not in, so the outsiders by default. But that just isn't necessarily true. In fact, it has created this toxic mindset that secluded communities tend to develop. And as a result, we have a very local minority of players who are just so deep into their ignorance and fanaticism for this perceived realistic elite master race that they actively try to insult and harass arcade players, and as a direct result actually hurt the community as a whole. Now let me make things very clear here. This doesn't apply to most of you guys. I've said this before. I fear that I'm repeating myself, but I honestly am quite proud of the little community that we've built on this channel. Most of you guys are fucking awesome sexy beasts after all. But even you will probably have this ingrained mindset of the RB community being superior to the AB community. Well, I'm not going to pretend I'm going to change that, right? But if I can get at least one of you to keep a more open mindset and maybe gain a different perspective, I think we can benefit as a whole. Now, I am no saint in this matter, alright? I too looked down at arcade players for the longest time, as I was exclusively a realistic player. But since I've started playing AB tanks again, at least, even though I want to touch RRB, as I said before, I've gained a new perspective on things, really. Now, of course, it's based on truth, on some truth at least, that your average RB player is more skilled than the average average arcade player. That's no secret, really. What people tend to forget is that isn't the whole picture. New players come into the game every day, and those who stay might grind through one or two of their favorite nations without too many worries, really. Picking up the occasional skill here or there, but never really delving too deep into the game mechanics. And let's be real here, War Thunder has some incredible depth to it. In order to be good at everything, you pretty much have to take a course. You have to spend a lot of time learning all the mechanics, maps, situations, vehicles, performances, and so on. Heck, after 3 years that I've been playing this game, I still haven't figured out everything. It takes true dedication to truly become good at the game, and as a result, the quote-unquote good players will naturally feel entitled and superior. But there are also those who show the same kind of dedication towards the arcade instead. And heck, even the player that doesn't want to become a pro and wants to just have fun with the game is perfectly entitled to do so, and not worth any more or less than the others. And before someone puts forth the argument, yes, I too get angry at people who stick with arcade all the way to tier 5 and then try to learn realistic mode in a jet or a top tier tank. Just, if you're one of those people, just please don't. You're actually actively hurting your teams, and that actually does make you kind of an asshole. But that apart, I just don't really understand this mindless hate of the arcade game mode. I mean, okay, sure, it's not everyone's game mode, and if you simply don't like arcade for the ease, for example, if you simply like the bigger challenge, if you don't like how the games are played, if you don't like the game mechanics as a whole, then sure, that's perfectly fine. What that doesn't give you is the right to put down the players who do prefer that game mode. And this is kind of something that I want to actively combat, because keep in mind, guys, we are playing the same game here. We are all playing War Thunder. If you want to bash something, then bash World of Tanks. That's perfectly fine by me, really. Oh god, I hate that game. But yeah, just there's no point in trying to make fun of, or trying to put down, or trying to insult, or trying to actively disrupt a community that's essentially playing the same game as you are. Okay, different game mode, fair enough, but it's the same freaking game. And keep in mind, things that affect the arcade community are going to affect the RB community for the most part as well. And also, let me remind you of something. I've mentioned this before, arcade is the biggest population in War Thunder. Now what do you think will happen if the arcade community dies? Well, guess what? The game dies, and so does your community. No, this kind of just sounds very, very hippie and very wishy-washy and stuff like that, and just love, peace and everything. Again, I'm not trying to just completely change the mindset here. I'm not trying to make people or force people to respect each other. Actually, yes, I do. I do want people to respect each other. But I'm not going to try and make things up or, you know, force people to play other game modes. right? That's not the point. The beauty of War Thunder is that you can play whatever you want, however you want, whenever you want. Sure, it might fuck your team up, but I personally am an advocate of the, you know, just free will, if it makes any sense. It's your game, it's your PC, it's your time. Fuck it, do whatever you want with it. If you want to fail squad and take an RBT5 into a tier 5 match, sure, people will rage at you, but fuck it. Have fun. But what I really just want to at least reduce is this just mindless hate towards your own community just because they play a different game mode from you. It doesn't make any sense. It's like shooting yourself in the foot. It doesn't make any sense. So I guess, if anything, the one thing you can take from this video is that you should think a little. Try and change your perspective. If you are just mindlessly and blindly bashing on arcades, at least try it, right? You might not like it, that's perfectly fine. But here's the thing, keep in mind that there are going to be arcade players that are much better than you. And as such, you should at least try to respect the community. I'm going to repeat this. We are playing the same game. Let's fucking work together, alright? There's no use in us trying to destroy each other. We have bigger things to worry about, alright? We were currently on a positive note with, you know, Japanese tanks and boats and bomber cockpits and hydraulic suspensions and all these big shiny updates. This hope of finally, you know, surpassing this negativity that the community has had for the past couple of years. And, you know, hopefully steer the game into a better position, into a better direction, and, you know, grow the community as a whole, and, you know, make the game more successful. And it might be because of that I'm currently doing this video. I really don't know. But I want to keep the high note going, alright? I don't want this to just end. I really want to improve things. I mean, heck, I'm not just doing this for money or anything. It's my hobby. YouTube is my hobby. I started the YouTube channel because I wanted to educate people. I started out doing guides because I wanted to increase the general skill of the player base and give the elitist player base less of a reason to complain about. But of course I don't have the reach. I can do as many guides as I want. Not everyone will see them, and that's perfectly fine. As I said, people are free to do whatever they want. If they want to actively become better, then hey, great, come to my channel. You can find some guides here. If you want to be an RB tanker, I have some guides on that. It's perfectly fine. But just don't feel forced to switch to a different game mode, or don't feel, you know, less or lesser just because someone who plays a different game mode tells you that you are. So this was kind of a heartfelt. This was very weird, I don't know. I'm not sure if I like this kind of video. I do like sitting down and talking about topics for a while, just having some gameplay running in the background, but this is kind of a weird one. I can kind of foresee that this is not going to be received too well. You can just guarantee there's still going to be those blind haters that are going to dislike this video just because it mentions arcade. That always happens, and fuck it, I cannot do anything about that. But again, if I can at least change the mindset of a single one of you, keep more of an open mindset, and heck, maybe help the community as a whole to become more friendly, then my job here is done. But guys, how about you tell me what you think about the topic I've talked about this whole elitism in the War Thunder community? Are you part of the elite? Are you fed up with how the elite behaves? Do you even think there's an elite? Illuminati confirmed, maybe? I don't know. Tell me your impressions in the comment section down below, and hell, do actually something else, you know? The thing is, this is my part, right? This is my contribution to this quote-unquote problem, and, well, how I want to fix things, in quotation marks, right? But you can do something as well. You know, you can spread the love. I mean, it's almost Christmas time. Just be friendly to your other players. Next time you want to rage at someone, hey, just send a smiley. Okay, you can break your wall in private, that's perfectly fine, but try to rage less, okay? It's not good for your blood pressure. But guys, this is it for today. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you did like it, well, you know what the like button is. It really helps out the channel, and we've really had a streak going with the last video. So again, thank you to each and every one of you who did like the video and comment on the last one. And well, I'll see you in the next one. If you're new, do subscribe. We have more videos coming, which also it's not going to be just these weird talks. We are going to have some actual content when both come out. More guides coming soon. I'm working on a blueprints episode on something that's top secret that I cannot yet talk about, but it's hopefully going to benefit both the arcade and RP player base actually. It's going to be quite interesting. But yeah, subscribe to the channel if you're new around here, click on the notification button to join the notification squad, and I'll see you next time. My name is MikeGoesBoom, and thank you for watching.
You can lift your head up to the sky, take a deeper breath and give it time. You can walk the path among the lines with your shattered frame of mind. Or instead you could always stay. We can wait right here and play until somehow you can find